Hello, room. Who do we have here? Let's see who's coming in. Da, 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 da. Did you watch Saturday Night Live? Oh, we already have like 5 people in. Hey guys, Elizabeth, Tony, Sheila, Marcus, Robert. Oh, we have like 11 attendings. You guys just like got in like poof. How's everybody doing? Let's go to the chat room. How are you? This beautiful cold day. And the chat is usually like a couple of seconds delay. Oh, Marie Cornell. I love you guys. I love you. You guys are so nice. Toronto. Hey, Giovanna from Jersey. Elizabeth from DC. I wonder if we have Pablo. One of my favorite people in the world is Pablo. Everybody's good. But we don't have favorites like with kids. Because if you have multiple children, there's always one that's a favorite. I wasn't it. Michelle, do you have any siblings?
I have a sister.
Who's the favorite?
We were split between parents.
Oh, that's good. So who loved you more, mom or dad?
I'm not going to answer.
Come
I think my mom is watching.
So it was dad who loved you more.
No, I didn't say that.
You just did. You said mommy's watching. Oh, we have Fiona from Australia. So Fiona, I think this is going to be the magic time. We were calculating what was the best time for everybody between coast and countries. And we figured 5 p.m. Australia could jump in, the East Coast, the West Coast. I mean, London is a little bit late, but, it's not late enough that it's not 3 o'clock in the morning. So I think you guys, you see, look, we have Robert from France, so it's not late enough. I am so happy that you guys are here. I was a little afraid that we were not going to have a lot of people in today's class. And like always, I just want to say hello. Hi, Wendy from New York City. Were you at the event this morning where they were talking about the new law that's going on in New York? Because Michelle and myself were there. It was a packed room.
It was packed. I was sitting on the floor.
Michelle, did you say, I'm sorry, Emily's having a hard time getting in. Why is she saying, are you in? Hold on. I don't know why Emily's having a hard time getting in. She's the other administrator who's chatting with us. And Emily's in the room. Hopefully we can hear her.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. We were waiting for
in the
Emily.
Right corner, it said off air. Even though you could see me, it said off the air. Now it says live.
Yes.
So we're here.
You're here. Yes. So we're going to give the room just one more second. We have a bunch of different people from everywhere. Anybody from Cuba? Host, I'm going to Cuba in February, and I'm looking for an Airbnb to stay at. And yes, I'm paying. I'm not asking you guys to put me up for free, but I'm going to Cuba in Febrero, and I'm looking for a place to stay for a couple of days. So I'll be there. We have people from Australia. We have Boston. We have Texas. Sheila from Texas and Robert from France. Wendy's asking what happened at the New York City meeting today. It was basically a lot of people testifying of why Airbnb is hateful and then why it's not. And there wasn't a lot. Cindy from Colorado is in the room, and we're just going to give one more second, and we're going to go straight into our class. So today I have the privilege of having Emily. And Emily, I'm not even going to attempt to try to say your last name.
Benkert.
Okay, yes, that. Emily. Just call her Emily. Emily B.
Okay, that's fine.
And she's out of San Francisco. I met Emily at the Airbnb Open in LA this past November, and we became buddies during the Open. We would drag each other out to different restaurants and different sessions, and we'll be the ones laughing in the rooms like, hee hee, can you believe you said that? So Emily was, you always need like a partner in crime during conferences.
Yes, you do.
And I'm grateful that Emily was that. Michelle was too busy. Michelle was there, but Michelle was too busy. So we have Emily from San Francisco and Michelle, and I don't know how to pronounce your last name either.
Himden.
Yeah.
See, also another easy one.
Okay, girls, my last name is easy, Badia.
Your last name's fun to say too.
So we have Michelle out of New York and Emily out of San Francisco. And one of the reasons why we're here today is because while I was in San Francisco, I normally have a big team of people taking care of my house. Different friends, they have different keys and everything else. And I had one particular, I like to have someone in the house while I'm gone, just because there's always something happens. And of course, something happened while I was gone. My dryer broke, and I posted about it on the Facebook group. So while I was gone, I have people coming in and out. My turnovers tend to be like 2 days, and it was busy. Who was taking care of my house had to leave for Thanksgiving. He was going back home to Miami. And so I did not have anybody to take care of my house, and I had a last minute booking. So I'm in LA, concerned about my house, and talking to Michelle about her running it while I was gone. And I was like, look, you know what? I was already had to deal with a dryer. I had guests that were complaining whether the heat was it was too hot or it was too cold. So I decided to just buy another ticket and come back earlier. So that's one of the reasons why I decided that it was good to have this class, just because, you know, sometimes we think like, oh, I don't need a property manager. It's only for if I have like multiple properties or if I'm doing this remotely or anything like that. But sometimes even if you just go on vacation or if you're busy with your job, look, I don't have a 9-to-5 job. Airbnb is my 9-to-5 job. But if you are busy with a job, you will need someone to help you out. If you want to work this out perfectly for you, which is never perfect, but if you want to work it out where you're not closing days down to wait for you to clean, it's better to have someone else helping you out instead of like having a partnergram and having a tribe to help you out. And therefore, this Michelle and Emily are here. So why don't you girls introduce yourself very quickly, a short introduction of who you are. And Emily, let's start with you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Emily, and I am a host in San Francisco. I was a host long before Airbnb even started, so it's kind of in my blood. When I grew up, my parents always had strangers staying over, traveling musicians, travelers, craftsmen, you name it. So it's a very comfortable space for me to be in, and I love it. I always have guests in my house. And I also have, over the years, have been in real estate, property management, and Guesthop evolved out of my love for hosting and for real estate property management. It's been part of my life forever, and I started Guesthop 3.5 years ago. We were the first company in San Francisco in the Bay Area, probably one of the first in the country, and we have about 100 properties. And we do more full service. So people hand over their property. Maybe they don't live here, or maybe they just live here part of the time. So we take care of everything. And we've seen it all.
And we'll talk all about that.
Not yet. I'm sure not yet. There's always something new.
All right. So now we have Michelle out of New York. And if you could just introduce yourself quickly.
Yeah. So my name is Michelle. I've been hosting for 5 years. I started hosting a shared space in my home. I realized that I loved it more than anything. And I started helping friends and family hosting while they were away. And I realized it was actually time to start making money off of that and charging people. So I turned it into a business. And I've been doing this officially as a business for about 2 years now. We have 70 properties. And that's Cityami.
Beautiful. Thank you, girls. So first of all, my first question, and we're just going to pull out questions, and then the audience can ask some questions if you want to start asking questions in the room, and I'll just highlight them so we can ask them. And we will talk about New York later on. How do you select a listing? Let's say, I mean, especially like if you know, we have different people like that they might live in the space, or that how do you select if somebody is a good fit for your properties? Because I know you ladies do different style of property management. So, Emily?
What type of property management?
Yes.
Yes. So we manage everything from start to finish. We create the listings, we get the pictures, we hire the photographers, we consult on furniture and placement and what they need for their Airbnb. So that's the first part about it, like getting people in the door and comfortable with sharing their home. And then we create the listing and start with the guest inquiries and everything. And we always talk to the hosts ahead of time and agree upon like a minimum price we'll never go below, which helps a lot for their just their peace of mind, knowing we're not going to be just giving their place away, and this actually is to help them pay the mortgage. So the pricing is a big deal. And so when they are, then the guests come, right? The guests arrive. Then that's a whole nother side of it. Taking care of the guests, making sure they're happy, making sure everything, all their needs are met. Then we manage the cleanings after the guest leaves. Within a few hours of any guest leaving, we're having it cleaned to get it ready, make sure it's ready. Even if it doesn't have a booking that night, it'll be ready in case it does book.
Okay.
And
let me ask you a question. Did you turn any host away? Like what?
Every once in a while, we like having people that will stay with us for at least a month. So starting a new listing just for a couple weeks for us isn't always worth it. But we do, so if it's a really low yielding property and they're going to have it they only need us for a short time, we will turn them away.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about you, Michelle?
Yeah, so Cityami was actually founded for hosts like myself who rent their place on a part-time basis. Throughout the course of the year, I am a hobby traveler, so I travel for 2 to 3 weeks at a time, which is why Airbnb was phenomenal for me. It funded most of my trips. I don't think I would have been able to go to Europe for a month if it wasn't for Airbnb. So we look to host people like myself who just have a property, they travel frequently enough. We don't turn anyone away unless they have a full-time property. So if someone is in New York City and they have an apartment, their landlord, they want to rent their place on a regular basis, on a year-long basis, we actually tell them that they're not a good fit for our service. Our service is catered towards people who rent on a part-time basis, who are coming home between guests, and can do a lot of the basic maintenance things that are needed on a long-term basis.
How come you turn away the long-term ones?
A couple of reasons. First and foremost, it's illegal in New York City and not particularly looking to get into that beast. But also, our service really isn't, we charge, you'll notice our price point is a little bit lower than Guesthops, and that's just because we offer different service levels. So things like, I don't know, maintaining a boiler, these things come up over time. We don't take care of that. All of those are charged separately.
Yeah, we do take care of that stuff. Yeah.
So basically, and let me just get this correct. So Emily, for you normally take care of a property from soup to nuts, from
usually, yeah,
building a listing up. Because I've spoken to you and you're like, oh, I'm getting a photographer. You help them set up the listing. Well, Michelle, for you, it's more of a place that's already set up and people are going on vacation and they want to use you for like, oh, I'm going away for a couple of weeks and I need someone to just take over the space and not bother my sister or my brother or my family member.
Yeah, so we actually offer 2 different services. One is full service, which handles the booking process. We take the photos. We don't hire a photographer. We just have fantastic iPhone 7s that we use to take the photos. But it's very much a quick and easy process. And we're not putting too much time into it unless they're really going to be gone for a long time. We also offer guest care and cleaning, which has we don't do anything with the profile management for guest care and cleaning. Someone can just book our service. They tell us who their guest is, when their guest is arriving, and we'll take care of the check-in, check-out. We're on call 24/7 for emergencies, and we do the cleaning.
Okay. So now, what about cost? Can we just talk a little bit about how much is it? And we're already getting some questions, and we'll get to them. Elizabeth, we'll get to your questions. But if I'm marking them already, so I'll know who's asking questions. What is the cost? I know you both have different pricing structures. Michelle, let's start with you.
I'll go first. So we charge for full service management, where we get the profile set up, we keep going. We charge 15%. And for guest care and cleaning, we charge anywhere from 75 to 150 for the guest care, depending on the length of the stay. And then cleaning is an additional 85 or more, depending on the size of the apartment. So it's not that it's a budget service by any means, but it does come out to a lot less when you consider 15% versus $75.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Emily?
We charge on the income, the revenue, and we're between 15 and 20%. So if somebody wants, if they require a live check-in every time, then we're at 20%, and 15% if they don't. But we also provide the a la carte. Like if somebody does want to order a check-in and cleaning, our prices are kind of on the higher side, but we are available to do it. It's not our mainstay. We don't want it to be our main focus, but sometimes people do need it. So this whole thing about helping the host, keeping hosting alive, we really want to promote that. So we do take some that need last minute help, but the majority of ours, we charge the 15 to 20%, and the guest pays for the cleanings. So
okay, so it's 15 to 20% in addition to the cleaning fees, of course.
Yeah. And we always try to like keep the cleaning fees. What we're charging the guest is pretty much what we're paying the cleaners, and it's not a big it keeps everything together by passing that management level through. But yeah.
Now let me ask you a question. Just to make sure that we set up for success, how can, let's say I called you ladies and I'm like, okay, I have a place in San Francisco and I have a place in New York. Yay, I'm so great, which I don't. What do I have to do to just start the process?
Mm-hmm. For us, we always we schedule a home visit. I was at one today. I just got back from one where, we have a short conversation with the host on the phone. And if they really are interested in moving forward with this, the next step is plan a host's home visit. Takes about a half an hour. We talk about their options. A lot of times people say, do you think I should leave this couch? Other people say, should I let the guest park in the garage? What should I do with my stuff? It's a consultation. And then after that, they usually within a day or two, they're going to either go with us or decide not to go this route. Yeah.
So your initial consultation is free. They get a nice big, they get a big consultation because you answering a bunch of questions that.
Oh yeah, everything. And we go to their house, and look at everything firsthand, not just pictures.
Wow.
So we do the same thing. Our initial consult is a phone call, and that's where we'll go through a lot of the questions. I would say probably only 1 in 5 phone consultations moves to a home visit. The phone consultations is where we really ask the questions like, what kind of property are you? Where are you located? In New York City, this is really key. So some people will have a property that we know is just going to be too high profile. That's maybe in a very tightly managed building. And we'll tell them, look, I'm sorry, you can list on Airbnb, but you're going to get shut down in 2 weeks' time. So it's not really worth it for us, and it's not going to be worth it for you either. And then when we meet in person, that's when we go through the house, make sure that it's guest ready. It's really critical to us that if it has a Cityami name on it, it has a certain level of expectation or standard. So, if they're hosting 2 guests, there's going to be at least 2 sets of dishes. There's going to be a hairdryer. There's going to be an ironing board. Just the really core basics that a guest really wants when they come into the apartment. And then we also check the bedding. We make sure that it's in good shape and let them know if they need new bedding or anything that we think that they need to really be a successful host. We'll go through that. And that's when we take photos as well and we get the apartment set up. We choose we actually use lock boxes for all of our check-ins. New York City is just particularly difficult to navigate, and trying to schedule a time to meet a guest in person is really impossible. So we did away with that, I think, in the first 6 months of business. I think after waiting 4.5 hours for a guest, I was done with it. I didn't want to do it anymore. So we find a location for a lockbox so that whenever they get their first booking, we can actually just send the guests an email so they know exactly where to find the key.
Okay. Now, how much information does a host has to give you and provide to you, since you're basically taking care of the house, and for the most part, the host is not even in the city, right?
A lot of times the host isn't even around. We have a questionnaire that every host fills out, and it's pretty extensive. It's almost like filling out the Airbnb listing. You know, do you have a fire extinguisher, hair dryer, iron, cable, internet, and they have to give us specific details about all of those things too. So yes, they need to give us as much as possible, and we just tell them this is how this is going to help you have a more relaxing trip. If they're on a trip or if they're away, the more you tell us, the more we know, the better we'll be able to take care of your guests.
What about you, Michelle? How much information do they give you, especially for New York? Do they give you landlord information, super, or anything like that?
So we require at the basic an emergency contact, and they essentially sign an emergency waiver or clause, and that's their way of telling us how they'd like us to handle an emergency if we can't get a hold of them. They spoke today, and I know we're going to get into this later. They spoke today in a city council meeting about all of these dangerous Airbnbs leaving guests, to the wild New York City, and that's not the case at all. So we check most apartments in the city are pretty standard, so we check every apartment ahead of time, and we'll reach out to the homeowner or client if we have questions, if we can't find something. But for the most part, we don't require that much information up front, just because we're such a quick and simple, low commitment service. We don't require, a 3-hour sign up process. You can literally be up and running in 15 minutes.
And for us, what happens 14 hours.
Wait, what was that, Emily?
For us, creating a listing, the whole process is 14-hour job.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That's a job. What about emergencies? What happens when there's an emergency? And Wendy's asking, what happens if you guys have an emergency with the guest? So I imagine it's the guest coming to you, not to the host, right?
Yes.
And how do you handle them?
Well, I would say it depends on the emergency. The biggest, I would say 50% of our emergencies have to do with keys in one form or another, whether guests lock themselves out, or the lock broke, or there's dust in the lock. A lot of our emergencies revolve around keys. And I jokingly, when I first started, said that I should be certified as a locksmith. And I kind of haven't given up on that idea. I think probably we need to eventually bring a locksmith onto staff full time. But we really troubleshoot to the extent possible. And then if we can't troubleshoot, if it's something that that does need a homeowner's permission, if it's broken, if there's no hot water, we'll reach out to the emergency contact if we can't get a hold of the host. But at the end of the day, something like hot water, if we can't resolve it in 24 hours, the guest is likely to cancel the booking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially nowadays. What about you, Emily? We love hearing horror stories. That's what everybody always loves to ask. What's that horror story?
I mean, of the thousands of guests we've hosted, on one hand, I can count the really bad guest experiences. And the small things like keys and toilet plumbing and small things like that, we just have to get it fixed. Whatever it takes to get it fixed. Whatever time of day or night, get it fixed. There are other situations that need more of a judgment call. We've had to evict guests before, and that's never fun, especially when they don't want to leave. We've had to have the police involved a couple times. We've had robberies where we caught the guest robbing a place.
Okay,
And,
wait, what?
yeah,
I want more details. Come on.
caught them robbing a place. Yeah, we checked them in. This was one of the live check-ins. Super fancy penthouse apartment up by Twin Peaks, floor to ceiling, Carrara marble, beautiful. After the guy, our hopper, checked them in, he had a bad feeling about him. So he kind of just hung around the house, kind of looking in the windows, and saw they just started going through stuff right away. Bookshelves way up high, and crazy, right? And we had to get them out. But they went through everything within an hour or so. They had gone through everything.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
What did the guest say?
So we always recommend to our clients that that they take their valuables offsite. I don't know what you have in San Francisco, but we have a number of really easy offsite storage services where a box will be delivered to your front door. You fill up the box with your valuables, they take it offsite. And I think it's like $5 a month. We definitely recommend that service.
Yeah, I mean, we tell people anything that's super prized, irreplaceable, don't leave it out, you know. And yeah, they can do stuff like that. A lot of hosts they have a bedroom that they can lock, or a closet that they can lock, that they can keep their extra valuable stuff in. But we don't want to go the other way too, because some hosts will strip down their house till it has no character at all, and they won't even leave a decent knife in the kitchen because they don't want to get stolen. So your house is going to get used. It's going to get used. So be ready for that.
Yeah, totally. It's funny. Yes, last night I was watching Broad City on Comedy Central.
Oh yeah, I love that show.
They did Airbnb.
I know.
Apartments.
Yeah, but they wouldn't call it Airbnb. What
No,
is
they call it B&B City or something like that. And one of them got robbed.
That's right. I saw that. Yeah.
It was actually a really good episode. Well, the other one was like it was she was smoking pot with the Chinese guests, Chinese parents. They were not even like young guests. They were Chinese guests. All right, so let me ask you a question. How do the guests when they write a review, does it go? Is the profile on your name or is the profile on the host?
For us, the profile's all in the host name, but we are upfront about it. As soon as they book, we tell them that, and even in the conversations in the guest inquiries, we say, this is Emily with Guesthop on behalf of Lisa. You know, we do let them know that, but the profile, so a lot of times the reviews reflect us. Well, they always do, right? But a lot of times the guests say something about Guesthop was really great to work with. We recommend them. They took care of everything really, really fast. And so forth. But they do know that it's that host, that person's name that hosted them is the real host. Mm-hmm. And they do leave their reviews on both. Yeah.
What about you, Michelle?
So we actually just, along with Airbnb's new co-hosting feature, we just switched a lot of our full service properties to co-hosting. So if someone wants full service management, they create their own profile and they add us as a co-host. So the guest will see ahead of time that they're talking with Michelle or, they're talking with Michael. They're not having a conversation with necessarily the host, but they know that it's the homeowners or the host's home.
And have you ever encountered any issues with the host is sort of like, no, well, I rented from, Michael and not from Michelle?
Have the guests ever had a problem with that? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for a while there, we were impersonating the host because they wanted that. But then when they get here and they never meet the host, and then they, there was a time where there was some confusion, like, who was I talking to? I feel duped. So now we tell them that you're talking, who they're talking with, and we have the host say, it's a saved message, but it's from the host saying, I use Guesthop to manage my place when I'm away. They'll be the one that are interacting with you.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, we're much more upfront about it now, and also Airbnb is more supportive of it now too. Like, I don't know. now that where all the property managers are out of the closet, they know there are other people talking for the host sometimes.
So let's go to the questions. So Elizabeth is asking, I'm wondering how they manage so many listings. Do you using some kind of software to manage so many listings? I feel like there's a lot to manage a few listings in Airbnb, and I cannot even figure out how someone manages so many listings in terms of count or pricing for so many. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. We have different softwares we use. We have scheduling tools, and like with the cleanings, we couldn't do it without Properly. Properly is a cleaning app, and it also has a desktop. And we enter all of we schedule the cleanings in there. Our cleaners, this is the portal for that. Makes it much easier. And also, I have a staff. We have 8 people in the office right now that are doing all of this as well. So it's definitely not a one-person job.
No.
What about you, Michelle?
Yeah, so same here. We don't use so many of the integrations at the moment. We started to switch over to our own management system in the back end, but I have a full-time profile manager who is really on top of it. And then there's a lot of the ground operations, managing the cleaners, toggling schedules. Sometimes a caller, or frequently enough, a cleaner calls in sick. You get the call at 9:30 a.m. and they have to be there at 10:30. So we do a lot of that with our own internal system at the moment. So
yeah, and host, I mean, this is not a one-person operation, and this is a full-time job. This is not just one listing, one host, and you take care of everything. They have a team, because you have to have a team. So
I mean, I work about 15 hours a day in the summertime just to, and I'm not even the only one. So
exactly. Okay. Victor is asking, what percentage of the daily rate do you pay property manager? As we discussed, Victor, it depends. It goes from 15 to 20% with Emily out of San Francisco, and then Michelle. Also, it could be either 15% or it could be a standard fee depending on what your needs are. So it could be 75 to 150, right, Michelle?
correct, yes.
Yeah. Plus, remember that cleaning fee is extra, so this does not include your cleaning fee. Now, let me ask you a question, ladies. I know there's Guesty, and someone has mentioned Guesty about here. They charge like a low percentage, but do they really take care of guests, or is it more like just this? I mean, what I have read about it is more like it's an algorithm, and they're just more like, a system.
We use Guesty.
Okay.
Yeah, Guesty is really helpful for us. Guesty is not an on-the-ground service at all. So some people get confused about that. It's really property management software. And it really works excellent with all these multiple listings. There's one master inbox, like all the inquiries coming in one place. You don't have to sign in and out of a bunch of accounts. This is where we can, we make the reports for the cleaners, for their schedule in there, and all the financial stuff is kept in there too. So it is a good tool, but probably not as helpful for somebody that just has one listing.
And that was Marcus' question. What about you, Michelle? Have you used Guesty? Is that a software company you use?
I've met the guys at Guesty and they're fantastic. We are not currently working with them because we brought literally the entire process in-house. But not to say that I wouldn't use them, not to say that I haven't heard great things. Some fellow property managers that are just non-professional property managers have a couple of properties that they rent. They love it. They love their experience with Guesty. They only get emails when there's something that Guesty can't answer for them that's not super algorithmic. And I think between their full-time cleaner and Guesty, their property is managed.
So basically, Guesty is just like a process that can help you out, but you still have to be hands-on as an Airbnb host.
Yeah, for the property itself. And also they have a lot of saved replies. So any question that a guest could ask, I mean, we help build the saved replies with them, would get sent to the guest. So when there's questions that Guesty can't answer, they would defer to us to get involved and talk to the guest. Yeah.
All right. Maria is asking, hi, Evelyn, what are your territories and areas you cover? So, Michelle, what areas do you cover?
We handle New York City, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, nowhere else at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And we're in San Francisco, the Bay Area, specifically all the way from Sonoma down to San Jose, which is about like probably 100-mile radius. And then we are expanding to Seattle too. We have a couple listings up there right now, and because we have connections. And LA is also on the roadmap, but it's all about creating the good, strong team in that area to be able to support expanding. So the main focus is here right now. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm reading Maria's question. Everybody hates New Jersey. It's not true. It's just, there just aren't enough listings there, unfortunately, to make a profit off of it.
Maria can detect that, believe me.
But but we have plans to expand to Miami this coming winter. So if you're in Miami, send me a message, Michelle@Cityami.com, and I'll put you on the list of people to reach out to when we're open.
All right, and now Marcus' question is, do you list exclusively on Airbnb, or do you also do HomeAway, FlipKey, Expedia, and Booking.com? Do you handle all those other platforms?
Yeah. Guesthop is exclusive on Airbnb right now. They've been great to work with, and we really feel a loyalty to the company. And we'll continue to do that as long as we can.
Yeah, being that we're in New York City, I can't say for when we open in Miami, because Miami is more of a traditional vacation rental town. In New York City, definitely Airbnb. We'll see. I'll let you know in 3 months.
Yeah, because imagine if you have different platforms, you have different calendars to deal with, and also they're just different ways to work. I just had a guest who has a couple of properties in Florida, and she's only on VRBO, and I'm like, no, come into Airbnb. And she was like, yeah, but I do have to come in for 3 months. And I'm like, you don't have to have any commitment with Airbnb, because I guess with VRBO, you have to have a commitment of 3 months minimum and all these other different things. While, with Airbnb, it's just a little bit more, it's easier to deal with. So Marie's asking, do either of you know of a service in Washington, D.C.? She met a gentleman in an Uber at the Open who was looking to do 1, 2, or 3 properties in that area on Airbnb.
In D.C.?
Yeah, in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, D.C. is a great area for Airbnb.
But do you know any property managers in D.C. that are doing what you ladies are doing?
I don't know anybody.
I can recommend Guest Prep, the cleaning company. They won't handle your key exchange, but they will let you know if something happened to your keys. They're super communicative, so they're a great kind of second chair. If you're able to continue to manage the hosting, maybe even tie in Guesty. They do work directly with Guesty, so between the two, you should be fairly well managed. You will need to have someone on the ground in case of emergencies still, but if you have that covered, definitely the combination can work.
And something that we could do is, I could create a document, a resource, and I'm not going to promise that that's going to happen in the next couple of days, because I am in the process of moving over my entire website to a new website. So that has taken almost a year to do, but we're almost there. And that's what I'm going to be doing this holiday vacation, non-vacation, this holiday season. Is moving over but I could create a document where it's like all the different cities and all the different property managers that are, and what they offer.
Yeah, you should, yeah.
So that could be something that you guys can get out of the website once it gets on the hostingjourney.com. That will be the new one. Wendy's asking, Michelle, do you do the greeting of the guests, or do you have your staff greet them and a staffer assigned to each property for questions during the guest stay?
So every guest has a property manager that they're assigned, and that property manager is their point of contact throughout their entire stay. So they have that direct one-on-one communication with them. However, all of our team kind of have it's It's a cell phone. It's a smart cell phone that if I don't pick up the call because I'm on the subway, it gets forwarded to the next person. So if a guest is trying to check in and they can't figure out how the lockbox works, my call gets forwarded to someone else. And they know this in the email that goes out to them that someone may or may not answer the phone for me.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Michelle?
Emily.
I'm sorry, Emily.
For the places that we have that require live check-ins, yes. I mean, I'm not always the one that meets people, but we have at least a few check-ins every day, like a couple of check-ins. And they're called hoppers, the people that do the check-ins. And they go meet the guests there. They give them a quick tour, walk them through, and they end up being their point of contact during their stay for small stuff. The hopper's not going to be able to solve any like big problems, but they'll be able to divert their call to whoever needs to know about it.
Okay, the next question from Leslie. I'm in Brooklyn in a 2-family home that I live in. I've been hosting since 2007. We have a keyless entry system. I'm looking for someone to take over the booking calendar and coordinating the cleaning calendar. I have my own cleaning team. Is this something you can help me with? Thanks. I'm as Michelle.
That is for me. So we require cleaning is done by our team. We have a certain standard of cleaning. We have a certain system in place, and it's all built around that. So we wouldn't be able to work with your cleaning team. However, if you already have boots on the ground for emergency, it sounds like it's great setup for Guesty, because that's exactly what Guesty does for you. Not that this was an entire webinar to pitch Guesty, but we're really more of a full service. So if you're looking to kind of manage your own team, we wouldn't be the people to manage.
And Maria is saying both Guesthop and Cityami could be franchised. Call Marcus Lemonis of The Prophet. It's so
I'm guessing that's a TV show.
I don't know, Maria. What is that, girl? Marcus is asking, do you have direct booking websites with lower rates for returning guests? I'm gonna say you don't. You use Airbnb.
Yeah, we don't take anything off Airbnb. We don't want to get kicked off the platform, first of all, because it's against the terms of service. So no, we don't.
And Fiona is asking, how many staff would you require per listing you have on your books? So I guess how many people that you started growing?
Yeah, for us, it's about 10 listings per listing manager is about what it is. And they do a lot. The listing managers have to handle everything. All the host relations, everything with the place, any maintenance, ordering stock. We also supply, I forgot to mention that. We restock the houses with all the consumables, toilet paper, paper towel, shampoo, conditioner, all that. So our listing managers are responsible for doing that too. And it's about 10 listings per person.
What about you, Emily? I mean, I'm sorry, but what about you, Michelle? You see, now Michelle, Emily, I call her, yeah, go ahead.
So we have a very different system in place. No one person manages everything. That said, I would say if you were gonna do it, you would need really 2 people. You would need your property manager and you would need your cleaner. I don't think that it's beneficial to have one person doing the entire thing. There's just too much happening.
Yes. All right. Any other questions? We're almost up to the top of the hours, and we almost have been talking for an hour. And Maria said, actually, Maria has said about Marcus Lemonis of The Prophet. He's a financial guru, an incredible show. Maria, is this you, my Maria from Jersey?
I gotta look up that guy.
I know.
I'm happy to take an introduction, Maria.
If you guys have any more questions, please, any advice that you have for people, I mean, because it was really, for me, it was worrisome to, yes, it's my Maria. I was in LA. I had everything set up like I normally do when I travel, because I've been doing this for a long time, and whenever I travel, of course, I think the house knows when I'm leaving. out of town, when it's not just I'm going out of the house, but like I'm going out of the state. Because even if it's Connecticut, something breaks down, man.
Well, that's your message then. Stop
I
right.
I swear to God, man. Like I went to Connecticut like a couple of months ago to see my friend's baby, and the hinges of the front door broke.
Oh, people need to realize anything could happen, really. Even when you least expect it, anything could happen. So leaving your guests in town while you're away with no coverage is kind of like a little Russian roulette right there.
No, and I always have coverage. I mean, I have somebody that stays in my house. I have somebody that takes care of whenever I have an emergency. I have someone. I have like 5 friends who have keys. You know what I mean? Like I have there's keys around my house all over Brooklyn, from like a block away to a couple of minutes away to, different things and different stuff. But this time around, I have one person. I normally like to have one person stay in my house while I'm gone. So they just stay in my room and they just take care of the house because I have 2 different listings, and it's just easier.
Yeah.
So I would like to talk about why not to do what Evelyn's doing, which is,
go ahead.
overburdening all of your friends with the business of your Airbnb.
I pay them.
Started. That's why Guesthop started too.
Wait, hold on 1 second. I pay my friends. It's not like they're doing it for free. And
the problem I find, and maybe you'll see this and maybe you won't, a lot of people will even give us a friend's phone number as their emergency contact, and we don't know that until we have to call that person. And so we call that emergency contact and they don't answer for 12 hours. And then when they do answer, they say, this really isn't my problem. Did you get it fixed? So I have to say, really, I wouldn't rely on your friends to manage your Airbnb unless they're professional Airbnb hosts or property managers themselves. I would really take it to a professional. It's one of those things, yes, you can set up your own advertising. However, if you go to someone who knows advertising, they're going to do a lot better job. Yes, you could set up your own marketing campaign. However, if you go to someone who knows marketing, they're going to do a better job and they're going to be more dedicated because it's their profession. And that, I would say, is my little pitch as to why not to do what Evelyn's done, because Evelyn had to cut her trip short by almost an entire week, I believe.
Yeah, and buy another ticket. And she bought another ticket.
So if she had just gone through the entire process and hired a property manager before she left, someone who knew how her home worked, was able to resolve those emergencies on her behalf, she could have stayed, and she actually would have had to stress out a lot less, because I did witness the fallout of all of this stress when everything fell apart while she was gone. And I would say that's not what anyone wants to deal with when they're traveling, because there's nothing you can do. At the bare minimum, you're a 5-hour trip and 2 2-hour cab rides away from your home. So emergencies are really hard to manage when you're remote.
Oh no, and believe me, it's happened to me. Like I was in Guatemala and the boiler broke. And I mean, and mind you, I had someone staying in the house, and my guests like sent me an email saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna leave early because there's no heat in the house because it was Christmas time and there was no heat in the house." And I had someone staying in the house, and I was like, "Okay, let me call the people that I mean, because I have a handy person for emergency like this and everything else, so I have a system set up." But yeah, I guess for next vacation, I'll be going away soon. I'm going to Cuba. So Leslie has another question. How do you get paid by the host? 1099?
So we're co-hosts. So if you book a guest care and cleaning, you pay by credit card. If you add us as your co-host, we get paid directly from Airbnb. So when the payout comes, you get 85%, we get 15% plus the cleaning fee.
And we collect all the money throughout the month and disperse to the hosts. So we 1099 the hosts. So we pay them their cuts, their 85%, and we keep ours. And then if somebody just needs a cleaning check-in, these a la carte one-offs, then they pay with a credit card directly. But for our we're more like a traditional property management company where we do all the accounting.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because we're taking care of their house, and we're buying the supplies, and we're managing the cleaners. So there's a lot to deal with there.
What do you suggest for a cleaning fee for a 1-bedroom apartment? Heather is asking.
Where?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good question. Where?
I would take the minimum wage and multiply it by 8.
By 8?
Yeah, so if the minimum wage is $8 an hour, $64.
Our minimum wage is like 14.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. For us, 1 bedrooms, we pay our cleaners $75 and we charge the guests $90.
Okay.
Pretty much what
so,
the math is.
Heather is out of Western Massachusetts. So the question are how much for a 1-bedroom? It's out of Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts.
I mean, she's probably going to be spending $80.
Yeah. I pay by the hour, Heather. But I pay like $20 an hour for the cleaner. And it depends on the property, on the apartment. But it's normally like a minimum of $60. And also it depends of how big, it could be a 1-bedroom, but does it sleep 4 people? If you have a sofa bed and it sleeps 4 people, you might have a bigger mess and things like that. So, there's more beds to be made or not. And so,
we go by how many beds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you also have to consider the cost of linen. So we charge the cleaning fee is the cost of cleaning plus the cost of laundry service. So we're in New York City, everyone uses wash and fold service. So we don't do laundry on site. We send it off site for laundering, and it's $20 for the first bed and $15 for each additional bed. And that's literally just covering the cost of the laundry and towels, the bedding and the towels.
Yeah. Oh wow! So we're talking about it's $80 for an apartment plus. Let's say if you have 2 beds, we're talking about $35 just for the laundry.
Beds. Yes.
Oh yes.
It's not cheap. So a 1-bedroom with a pull-out sofa is going to cost, I think, $125. Did I do that? Yeah, $125 is what you would pay.
Yeah, we include the laundry in our cleaning fees. Okay. And we also provide the linens, so we don't.
So you bring your own linens.
We bring our own linens. So every time a turnover happens, our cleaners go there with a new bag of linens.
Okay. May I ask where do you get your linens from?
I am in search.
I always recommend Target.
Sailor right now, actually, we have a couple companies on Amazon that we buy from that I think we can do better. So we're kind of in search of a wholesale linens company right now. But Costco, the towels, we use Google Express. Google Express is the best here. And they work with Costco. So we get all our towels there at Costco through Google Express.
Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. What about you, Michelle? Because I know you were providing linens as well, right, at one point?
We were providing linens. However, it was our cleaning partner who was providing them. And when we broke that partnership off, we lost our linens, unfortunately. So we will be bringing it back. But that's something that for anyone who's in startup life, we're actively fundraising. And we won't be bringing linens back until we've fundraised so that we can buy at a wholesale price.
Yeah, it's expensive.
It's a lot of money. Expensive. Yeah.
Pablo from Salamanca asks, one question for later being very far away. I suppose there were 3 groups in that meeting in New York City. Some agree that some limits should be established. Some do not agree. Some say something is not right. Something more to add to this obvious summary. Oh, I'm sorry, Pablo. You're talking about New York City meeting. We'll talk about that later. Marcus, do you use dynamic pricing or dynamic length of stay optimization tools?
We do, yes. We use Beyond Pricing. That's a data software for pricing. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Sometimes I think we kind of know best too. Like, it doesn't catch every single event happening in town. So every once in a while we'll be like, hey, they didn't get the women's marathon. They didn't change the rates for that. And we're kind of like, we have to watch it closely. But it's much better than Airbnb's smart pricing, much better.
And they charge how much? Beyond Pricing charges what, a 3% charge?
1%.
Oh,
yeah.
1%. Oh, yeah. That's not bad at all.
3. Yeah, Guesty's 3%.
Guesty's 3%. Okay.
I believe we have Marcus from Hostaway on here.
Marcus, is that you from Host Away?
Anyhow, so we brought all of it in-house at the moment.
Okay. Anything else that you want to tell besides telling me, Evelyn, don't use your friends? Anything else you want to tell hosts?
I think hosts get really attached to their listings, like they should. This is their home and all. But when they are leaving town, let us take care of things. Trust us. Some hosts that are used to handling everything themselves, like you, they just cannot separate. And we're like, you will have a much better trip if you just let us help you. Let us take care of things. Trust us.
I can't. I am.
So maybe we should have an entire seminar on breaking away from micromanagement of your Airbnb.
Micromanaging your Airbnb, letting it go. I live here. Come on, it's my house. Of course.
That's okay.
So that's something that we're very sensitive to, is the fact that all of our listings are people's primary homes, because we exclusively manage people's primary homes. And for that very reason, we keep hosts involved. They're BCC'd on every email out to guests. We reach out to them to let them know, even if a guest had a problem and it was resolved, we let them know, so they feel that they're involved. They don't feel that they're passing off the keys and walking away. I guess we have 4 minutes left. The one other thing that we didn't really talk about is when to choose when it's right for you. And that's something that I think is really important to consider. I would say my 30-second spiel on that is, if Airbnb is your only source of income and you need every single penny that you can possibly get, do not hire a property manager. We are still a professional. We're still making a living off of this. If you really want to rent your place and you're just looking to make extra money and you maybe don't have time to deal with it, then definitely the thing to do is to hire a property manager. Don't try to do it yourself, because I think we were talking about this offline. Guesthop and I both, we manage our profiles. We're updating them, modifying them every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. It's a really involved, intensive process to get the best price possible. And we do that, so that everybody's making the most money possible. So yeah, that was 1 minute.
No, it's okay. And don't worry, look, I don't shut us down in an hour if we have more to talk about. This year's class with Alex and Tammy, which we're going to do that class again in January, it was like an hour and a half, because there's so much information and we get limited. Michelle is asking, what are your star ratings and how does this affect superhost status?
We have most of our hosts are superhosts, and we maintain that that level for them. If it drops below superhost, a lot of times it's something that is on them. Maybe the guest didn't like the location, or maybe the heat broke while they were there, or maybe something happened that was kind of out of our control. But yes, our goal is to keep 5 stars, keep everybody superhosts. Everybody doesn't come to us as a superhost, so we can't guarantee you will be one quick, but
So I'm personally, just on a very personal level, not tied to superhost status at all. I think it's at this point in time, it's so hard to detect or determine, whether a listing is going to be a good fit for a guest. You can tell guests that this listing is in the heart of the party area. Particularly our listings downtown in downtown New York City. They're difficult because if you live in New York City, you understand that it's a super desirable area, that rent is crazy inflated. However, for guests staying there, they may or may not really want to be there. They may not know what they're getting into. So the neighborhood is loud. There's a party going until 4 a.m. every single night of the week. If you're coming to New York City looking to have the time of your life, this is definitely going to be a great place, and you're going to give a 5-star review. If you're coming and you just want a quiet night's sleep, you're going to hate your stay, and you're going to leave a 2-star review. I've had people, in the Lower East Side, which is a particularly expensive neighborhood, leave like 1 star for a location just because they think it's a dangerous and unsafe neighborhood. even though it's a really safe neighborhood. So
No, I see what you're saying. I agree with you too, but Superhost does help you push you up the search ranking on Airbnb, whether we agree with it or not.
I'm just personally, I find it very difficult to
All right, yeah, I wish they would take the location one out, because people just don't always read the listing either. You can say it's above a bar, and they'll be mad that it's noisy.
The number of times that we've had to relocate a guest, even though there was a conversation about how loud the apartment was going to be, the next morning the guest writes us and says, okay, we didn't realize it was going to be this loud. Can we find a new apartment? So it happens, you know, you should really listen to the person on the other side when you're booking an apartment. But it is.
Read the listings. We like to keep our listings short too. We don't like to have too much information, too much in the description, because we want guests to read it.
Yeah.
I know the big novels don't get
Essentials,
read.
just the essentials. What is the most important about this place? What is the best thing about it? And the worst. Don't be afraid to put what the worst thing about your place is in your listing.
Yeah, Chip Conley did a class this past year with me. No, actually, 2015, where he talked about mention 3 things that are great about your place and 2 things that your guests don't like. And it's a great way for you to mention something that, you know, look, people wish I was in Manhattan. I'm not. But it's really quiet over here.
Yeah.
But I'm not 20 minutes from a tourist attraction. I am, but you have to take the train.
Yeah.
So, and the trains on the weekends are always a problem.
Yeah. Keep their expectations reasonable.
I know, expectations. Emily, thank you so much for being part of this. And
check out our website, guesthop.com, and we're out here on the West Coast for the time being.
For the time being, hopefully, and I know you have plans of expanding and taking over the world. But thank you so much. And Michelle, if we could sit for a minute and just talk about a little bit about what happened today in New York, in the New York meeting. I know you were in the room more than I was. The room was really crowded. I don't even know if we were clear about the expectations of what happened during that meeting, or what was going to happen during the meeting. It was sort of like,
no, actually, I went into the meeting. I think we had been told that they were going to decide how, or they were going to share how
enforcement,
the legislation was going to be enforced. I had to leave an hour and a half into it, and they had not gotten to that. So I'm not sure whether that was determined at all. Do you know?
No, I actually was not even in the room was crowded. I got there like right at 11 a.m. and it was really crowded. And I went in and basically it was a meeting where people were just getting discussing their point of views from the audience and the community. So it wasn't them speaking and telling us what was going to happen. It was more about us telling them, Airbnb, how much they hate us and why they hate us. And then I'll say, no, but don't hate us.
And Linda got on and everyone started coughing so that she couldn't be heard. It wasn't good. No, I mean, I think there were a lot of good points that I think, unfortunately, a lot of people that went and spoke, I think the people who were renting their entire home while they're away were afraid to speak. The people that did stand up and speak were renting a room or a shared space, and that's actually not under debate at this point in time. And I don't know that it ever will be, because there's laws protecting people having boarders in their homes. And that would just start to get really complicated, because when do you know if it's a boarder or a roommate? I don't think that's going to be up for battle anytime soon. But yeah, there were a lot of good points made. I don't know that anyone in city council was listening. I really think that it's just kind of one of the boxes that they have to check before they rule. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and I know, Emily, in San Francisco, you guys are having issues as well, right?
Oh yes, it's never-ending saga. Right now, though, we're really happy. Our mayor vetoed the 60-day limit that our Board of Supervisors were trying to impose, and that is a huge victory. Because now, so we can do 90 days when you're not home, when it unhosted, and you can do 365 when you are home. That's our law now.
So basically 90 days for a private apartment.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter the size of the building or anything like that. Because here in New York, we don't have limitation of time. We have the limitation that you are not allowed to do it private apartment if it's a multiple dwelling. Basically, if the building is 3 families or more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we can. If it's your primary residence, that's the rule here. It has to be your primary residence. You have to register with the city. It can be in any size building, and you can do it for 90 days when you're not home. Shared space, hosted all year if you are. And I'm sure that we're going to keep fighting about it. There's lots of opposition in our board of supervisors. In fact, the majority of them voted to do this 60-day thing. So we're really happy the mayor stepped in and said it's not reasonable.
Wow. So they wanted to just do 60 days only a year?
Yes, only 60 days for everybody. And that's unreasonable.
Wait, hold on. Including share space?
Yes, that's what they were trying. So our mayor,
no.
That's way too he said people are just going to break the law anyway, so let's not make it.
Yeah.
So even the 90's hard, for people that don't live in their place all year.
Yeah, and I know Airbnb it's doing some new stuff where you have to making it easier for you to register within their website.
It's yet to happen. They say they're going to make so you can apply online, so you can register online. Right now, it's a long, drawn-out process, multiple visits to offices and planning department, and it can take you like 3 months to get registered. So they're going to be doing that registration online, but they haven't yet. More to come. Yeah, in New York, you don't have to register it yet.
Because it's totally illegal.
Yeah, I mean, and the reality is you might be legal according to the state and the city, but that doesn't mean you're legal in zoning. So
or in housing or from the health department. If you're renting on Airbnb, any department from the city could come after you, and they will come after you. I've seen, they even talked today about how they were really glad that bed and breakfasts haven't been targeted, and that's untrue because bed and breakfasts in New York City have been targeted. They're actually easy targets because they're commercial operators, they're live, they're marketing online, and the city comes after them and they get them for any number of, if a sprinkler isn't working, if a lock is broken on a door, if someone isn't sleeping there that's on the lease. I mean, they come after them for any number of things. And the fines are pretty massive. So we're not talking about, $1,000 fine, which is, it hurts, but it's not going to shut down a bed and breakfast. But we're talking about $35,000 in fines, which will shut down a bed and breakfast.
Oh, that's crazy.
So
many.
I look forward to legislation coming out pro Airbnb. We'll see.
All of those agencies in San Francisco don't get involved with Airbnb. The health department, health and safety kind of stuff, they don't get involved.
Oh man, there's to have a legal bed and breakfast, you have to get licensing from 5 departments in New York City, which is
and actually in New York City, there's no such thing as a legal bed and breakfast. It just does not exist. It does not in the law to be legal. So what happened was when all of this whole short-term rental started happening, they went towards the bed and breakfast community, just because they were already like listed and everything else and registered, but because they're not legal according to the city and state and all of that stuff. And they have spoken, their organization have spoken at the different Airbnb meetings and the different city council meetings. I've been in 2 city council meetings that the bed and breakfast community have spoken and said, look, we're getting fined, we're getting targeted, we're getting hit, because we are an easy target, like Michelle was saying. Unfortunately,
it is what it is.
Yes, so let's try to end this in a very better note. We're like 2 weeks away from the new year. So in honor of the Airbnb Open, what is making you excited right now about your life?
I'm excited about since we just passed the mayor vetoed, things are looking much more up for us here, business-wise, and that's exciting. I mean, more people can do it. It's not going to end it all. So that's cool.
Michelle?
I mean, I'm looking forward to Miami. It's 30 degrees out.
I think it's colder than that.
It probably is. That's true. I think it was 20.
Yeah, we're complaining here. 54.
Yeah, I see you with your little hand thing.
It's freezing. It got down to 42 at night.
I have to say, one of my friends from LA reached out to me yesterday and was like, I can't exercise. It's like 55 out. I was like, I just came back from a run and it was 20 degrees out. So I want you out there running. No, I'm really excited to be part of Airbnb. I love the fact that New York is New York. I mean, New Yorkers are not letting a small law, $1,000 fine, shut anyone down. Through all of this, we grew by 10,000 hosts in the last 6 months, which I think is phenomenal. Cityami continues to grow, and I want to encourage you to continue to grow. Fortunately, the thing about New York City is that you're going to have warning. You can check the city website and you'll know when your place has been reported. So you kind of have a warning and tap into that and continue to host, and don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. However, don't take housing off the market, because we all live here and we all want to live here. But don't be afraid to rent your place and go to Europe for a month. It's well worth it.
I know. And call Michelle, especially if you're based out of New York.
Call me. Don't do an Evelyn. You do not want to come back a week early from your trip because your boiler broke.
Well, it wasn't. Yeah, it was complicated. It was beyond. Yeah, no, yeah.
That's what we're here for.
It was okay. It was time to come back home.
She thinks that we haven't seen this in 5 years hosting, but we have. We've seen it all.
Yeah.
My ladies, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Stay long. Everyone, thank you for all of your questions. It was great meeting you. I'm going to put my address up here.
Yes, and
I put my email if you want to send me an email.
Where are you entering that? In the chat box?
Chat room. Yeah, in the chat.
And my phone number if you want to call.
Oh my God. Just don't call after midnight.
You know what? If you call after midnight, it better be an emergency.
Emily, there's a chat on the side. It's a webinar jam.
Put it there. Did you? I just typed it in. Did you?
No, you typed it above your name. That sounds weird.
No, it says group chat.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just put hers for her.
That's the only place for me to enter it.
Michelle did it for you. All right, guys, ladies, again, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Team hosts, thank you again. I will see you at the Hosting Journey Facebook group where Michelle and Emily are part of. I know Emily's not much of a Facebooker because she's busy. Michelle pops in and out. We also have an Airbnb NYC group.
Okay.
But we only accept people that live in New York or New Jersey. We do not accept, people from, and I don't know why people request from other countries.
And we check your profile. I'm pretty stringent actually on this. I manage the New York City group and we check your profile. So yes, if you are not a New Yorker, you're not getting added to the group.
Exactly. So thank you again, ladies. Have a great night. And team, see you guys, see you all over there on the internet.
Happy hosting
next year. This is the last webinar of 2016. So thank you again for allowing us to be part of your life and part of your hosting experiences.
Happy holidays and
happy holidays, everybody.
Happy hosting.